Welcome back to the Flicks Forum podcast with Jesse and MJ, where we go back and look at a Netflix original film in the order of release each week. This is our fourth day of Podmas, where we're putting out an episode every day in the lead up to Christmas.
Ho, ho, ho.
It's getting closer. Today, we're checking out Netflix's 52nd film. It's the 2017 teen horror comedy, The Babysitter. It's directed by McG, stars Samara Weaving, Judah Lewis, Hana Mae Lee, Robbie Amell, and Bella Thorne. And we've got a special guest back again, 2 days in a row. Simo.
I'm back, thank you. Obviously,
Thanks for keeping the promise.
Yeah, I wasn't.
I'm very surprised he came back.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it, and it wasn't too bad, obviously, that you've asked me back, so it's good to be here. And I'm more in tune with this one, I think. I'm ready.
I like the confidence.
Good. All right.
How are you, Jesse?
Yeah, 4th of December. It's getting close to the end of the year.
Getting there.
Very excited.
But what a great way to spend December, watching these films, letting you guys all know about it. And this one is a big one. Everyone knows about this one, so thank you for listening, because you want to hear all the great stuff we've got to say about The Babysitter. And before we start, we may do a few spoilers within this podcast. So if you haven't seen The Babysitter and you want to watch it, go watch it and then come back and listen to us, and then you can still enjoy us for Podmas.
Yep, I'm going to spoil it.
In your fast flicks?
Just
in
general. Spoil it, yeah.
In general,
yeah.
Cool. No, I'm going to spoil it too.
Good, all right. So we kick off our show with a fast flick. So we go around, do a 30-second summary of the film, seeing as we've got this veteran Simo here now. He can kick us off.
I'm ready.
2 episodes in. Veteran.
It's never too young to learn that doing a deal with the devil comes with a price. Our leading lad, Cole, finds this out quite literally in a journey to prove to everyone, but mostly himself, that he is truly too old for a babysitter.
How's the charisma on that?
That's something I'd read on Letterboxd.
Wow. That was awesome.
I felt good about that.
Can you go next, Jess? I don't want to follow that up.
Okay, well, as usual, I like to make mine really complex. A young boy needs to overcome his fears and work on growing up through the analogy of a babysitter.
Yeah, analogy or just like literal?
That's probably not the right word. She was real.
Do you want me to say mine again?
It's like, I must have watched a different movie, because I swear she was real. All right, fast flicks. Trying to sneak a peek at what his babysitter gets up to after dark, Cole witnesses some unimaginable shit go down and then spends the rest of the night trying to stay alive.
Good. All right. We've all watched the same movie. Except for me.
Yeah, this is the first time in fast flicks I'm like, maybe there's a different baby. And it's a common sort of name, so.
Yeah. All right. Well, what have we learned about this film in doing a bit of research? MJ, what have you got for us?
I was firstly disappointed that there was no award nominations for it.
We haven't got to our early thoughts yet. It's disappointed.
Yeah, I always like to see what awards it was nominated for and didn't get one. So that's a shame for every single award ceremony out there. So it was filmed in 2015. Didn't release until 2017. So from what I can gather, so Boys Schiller and McGee's company Wonderland Sound and Visioned co-financed the film initially, which wrapped up filming. And then Wonderland acquired the actual film in 2015 and with basically a conversation with Netflix as well, decided that it was going to be a Netflix original film. And it was initially sitting on New Line's slate for quite a while. So New Line, Netflix, and those other finances and production companies I spoke about were all kind of in conversation during the production of this film to decide where it's going to end up. So it kind of, it feels like it was like a New Line film that was sitting on the slate and couldn't get released, so they sold it to Netflix. But from what I can gather, Netflix actually did have quite a big say in the production side of things, and they were involved quite early on. So there was a period late on in the production side of it where McG knew that this was going to be, or MC, is it McG?
I think it's McG.
Yeah, that's fine either way. Where they knew it was going to be a streaming product, and McG is pretty happy that it kind of ended up that way, because he doesn't shy away from the fact that it was a pretty weird film, B, it was probably way too weird to be on 3,000 screens across the states. So it kind of worked out well in the end, considering 2015 Netflix wasn't having any films, so it kind of worked out well that it sat and waited for a little bit.
Yeah. So it was released on Friday the 13th of October on Netflix.
Clever. Very clever. I'm all for that.
Yeah.
Didn't we have...
Yeah, there was another...
I am the pretty little thing that lives in the house.
Yeah, that was a Halloween one, and I feel like we had the Valentine's Day one for Girlfriend's Day.
Ah, yeah, you're right.
Valentine's
Greeting
Day
card
for
Girlfriend's
Day.
Day. Yep. Bang on.
They've announced a sequel.
So that's awesome.
Yeah.
I was going to say some stuff in the conversation about the sequel. So.
Okay. All right. We'll
Do you know
hold that
anything
one
about
up.
the sequel?
No.
Okay.
I probably don't want to know much about the sequel, but yeah.
2014 Blacklist script.
Yep. 2014.
Interesting.
Blacklist.
2014 Blacklist and picked up within 2015. So we've seen films before where the Blacklist has been on there for years and years.
Yeah.
And there's hundreds of scripts on there. So they picked it up pretty quickly and liked it a lot, and here it is.
The one thing that I wanted to know about this film, there's a scene where the two main sort of characters watching this film on the garage sort of wall, and that was one of the things I wanted to look up. What film was that? Because it looked cool.
You're allowed to look it up. We have a section for looking that thing up.
Oh, yeah, okay. All right, I'll hold that off to then. Thanks for ruining that. Come on. It was filmed in LA. This reminded me very much of an Aussie film called Better Watch Out. Very, very much so.
Don't know it.
I classified that as a Christmas film. So we're in Christmas. So if you want a good horror Christmas film, it's got a good Aussie cast, and it's very similar. It's like a teenage boy in a house with lots of horror stuff.
Is this the one that you
on.
Borrowed from the library recently?
I did have borrowed.
I remember
recently from a
seeing
friend,
it.
Yeah, it was sitting on my table for ages.
Yeah, that's right.
So highly recommend it.
It was good, was it?
Very similar to this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it a Christmas film in the way that Die Hard's a Christmas film?
Yeah, it's a Christmas film like
Die
that.
Hard's a Christmas film.
Yeah, okay.
Things happen and Christmas is happening.
Yeah.
Have you seen Krampus?
I know of Krampus, but haven't watched it yet.
Is it similar kind of feel? Do you think to Krampus, Christmas horror?
Krampus is more about some sort of
it's supernatural.
Supernatural, yeah. There's no massive supernatural feels to this, yeah. But yeah, Better Watch Out. If you like the Babysitter, I highly recommend watching Better Watch Out.
I found it interesting. You obviously would remember there was a scene where Queen's "We Are the Champions" came on. So obviously very expensive to get a song like that in film. So McG wrote a letter to the three still alive band members of Queen. Mentioned it was a film kind of about bullying and thought it might be something that they want to be linked to, and they gave him the cue at a very cheap rate.
Ah, it's nice.
How good's that?
I want to know how cheap is cheap for Queen.
But just the idea that you're like, you know what, I'm just going to write him a letter. Like, even at this level, people are still just like, let's just see here. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. So I like that.
Yeah, good. The critical consensus for this, or the audience consensus too, is pretty positive.
Pretty positive, and I kind of touched on it earlier. A lot of people have seen this film. So we've got on IMDb nearly 50,000 ratings, sitting at 6.3 out of 10, which again, very good score. A bit lower on Letterboxd at 2.8, which doesn't surprise me. We know Letterboxd is the more filmy kind of audience. And
us, yeah.
I could see, I'm sitting in the 6.3 camp, Jesse. We know it's more of a filmy audience, and you can understand why they might not have loved it as much. But still, 32,000 ratings on Letterboxd, very big score. We're talking top 4 or 5 of the Netflix films that we've done in the first 52 films. So, popular film.
Yeah, and this is one of the ones that I remember coming out. Like, going back from Netflix, I remember it being predominantly on your screen when you turn it on. Like, there was a bit of a push, I feel. So, there was real backing, I think, for this one. It was one that I watched, I think, when it came out, so a lot of other people probably did too.
Yeah. Was it rotten, Jesse?
72%
Wow,
on 25 reviews. Audience had it at 60, so a little bit lower, and that was on nearly 2,000 ratings. So, a lot lower in the ratings compared to IMDb and Letterboxd. Anything else we want to talk about, or should we go to our early thoughts?
Yeah, we're going to talk about the director later.
Yeah.
No, I think I've covered it all.
Good. All right. Simo, early thoughts on this one?
Well, I thought, watching it at the beginning, if you didn't see the poster or the trailer and kind of came into the movie blind, the first 20 minutes or so plays out like your standard suburban American kind of teen movie, almost like a Nickelodeon style kind of rom-com is the feelings I got, but it has that quick down and it heads very quickly down the tried but true 1x1 style slasher, which I quite enjoy.
I'll be frank, and this is what we do with all our films, had no idea about this film. Went in extremely cold, so I didn't know. All I saw was it was horror comedy, and I was like, cool. So I knew nothing about this film going into it, which is always the best way to do it. And I thought it was really good. I thought it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed the humour. I enjoyed the hunt. I very quickly bought into the ridiculousness of it. Certainly had its flaws, but not enough to take me away from the ride that it put me on. It knew when to take the piss, and it took the piss well when it did it. So a lot of ticks from me. I really enjoyed watching this.
Yeah,
I hope you did. I was thinking this. I'm like, I hope Jesse enjoyed it because I'm going to have trouble. We're going to have trouble on this one if he didn't.
What should I say?
I don't know. I get the feeling you didn't like it.
I started with really low expectations.
Okay.
I knew, like, I'd seen the posters. I'd seen a lot of, like, the posters change on Netflix these days too. Like, you get different posters depending when you search for things and what you've watched previously.
Right.
So I'd seen a couple of different, in between watching other films, because this has been on my list since it came out. And I'd seen a couple of different posters, and I got the idea that the Babysitter was going to be the horror element, I guess, or the sort of crazy element. So I did have little inklings, but I didn't mind this. Sorry, I was trying to build that up as much as I possibly could.
Because I was worried there's going to be things that I'm like, this was awesome, and you're like, MJ, you're an idiot.
No, I never call you an idiot. There's some very nice little messages along this way, and it was a fun ride. Like you said, a ride. I
awesome.
enjoyed it. Yep. All right, let's talk about some characters.
Oof, I'm excited now.
Let's MJ, give us a character.
Let's start with Cole.
Yes.
I really like the idea that he was basically on his own for the entire ordeal. It was kind of like a Die Hard situation for a kid. I'm not saying that because you touched on it before, and it's fresh in my mind. I was actually thinking that this is kind of like a 12-year-old kid doing Die Hard in his house, where everyone's trying to kill him and he's on his own. And I really liked him. I thought he was well-rounded enough for me to have him. I was rooting for him, but I was still worried for him at the same time because he was a smart kid, but I wasn't expecting him to be, this old kick-ass and dominate kind of thing. So there was that obvious character development of him being a pussy and turning into a bit of a hero by the end, and they probably could have done some more work on all that. I wasn't really expecting them to build up on that too much. I think it might have been a little bit better if they did, but it didn't bother me either way. But yeah, Die Hard with a 12-year-old kid in his own house with 6 people trying to murder him. Nice.
When you spoke about him being alone, I think like the first few scenes did a really good job of creating that isolation for him too. So that when what happened in the house happened, I think that worked well. I liked that he wasn't the annoying kid that you see in a lot of these movies. Like he wasn't. There weren't lots of lines where I'm like, oh, I can't stand you. Like I didn't have any of those scenes with him. So I was along with him.
If anything, he felt a lot more grown up than he was, which makes him more relatable for people watching it. Unless he's 12 years old watching it.
But didn't he say he's like 12?
He's 12.
Yeah.
Didn't seem 12.
No,
I was trying to guess it before he said it. I'm like, how old is he? But I think it's funny, in the theme of Christmas, you talk about Die Hard, but you also get that Home Alone vibe.
Yeah, definitely Home Alone vibe, yeah.
So I thought he was fun and likeable. Yeah. You wanted to root for him, not only to survive, but to take down the crew and win the girl.
Yeah. It's exactly what it was, wasn't it?
So it's tried and true, but I mean, I enjoyed it. And
lucky 12-year-old's got 2 girls to fight for.
And there's some scenes that when you know he's 12-year-old, like, okay.
Let's go to B.
Yeah, go to B.
I did notice, and I enjoyed that there was always something a little bit off about her. And I like at the start when she was talking to that nerdy bloke, and I was led to believe, like, she's got a thing for nerds. So you knew she was kind of like...
You were drawn to her.
No. Yeah,
smack.
She's still out of my league. But I'm like, she had that sort of investment in Cole. I'm like, maybe that's what he's thinking. Like, she will like me when I'm older. And I'm like, maybe she just likes these nerdy guys. Maybe she's like Nadia from American Pie. I thought Samara Weaving did a bang-up job. I thought it was a really, really good performance from her.
Hugo Weaving's daughter, yeah?
Is that right?
I'm pretty sure.
Knew she was Australian.
Yeah. She was on Home and Away.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's Hugo Weaving's daughter.
Oh, there you go. No, I thought she was awesome because it's a tricky role to play, and she kind of had those two identities but never strayed from either of them. You could see it in her the whole time. I was left wanting a little bit more to understand her background. That kind of bothered me a little bit from her character perspective. So she was some sort of devil worshipper. Is that how you guys understood it?
I guess, like, I just thought that she was who she is now because she used to be like Cole and she was not attractive, not fun, and then she's used this book so much that's what she is now. That's why she keeps moving, because she continually changes in the way she looks.
Yeah. So, like, by worshipping the devil in a sense. Did they mention the devil? Like, I'm sure I missed that.
They say that the book's about the devil, and then to get something in return, you need to give something, and that's blood. And
So that's kind of what I mean. Like, that's why I wanted to touch on whether they're doing a sequel or not. Well, I knew they were doing a sequel. I would love the sequel to be a prequel, because I want to know more about her and the guys and how it all kind of happened.
Yeah.
But it didn't. Like, the film was a bloody roller coaster ride, so that's fine. It didn't bother me too much, but upon reflection, I wanted a little bit more.
I thought early on, I didn't think she was ever going to fully turn on him. So, and I felt that the whole way through, so I liked that the whole way through. Even like towards the end, she never really fully 100% turned on him.
Even when she was done at the end, when she got hit by the car, pardon me, there was still a caringness about her towards him.
Yeah, which I thought was nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can't help but question her motives at the bat, and I guess that's because the movie's titled The Babysitter.
Yeah.
And when you get introduced to her as a babysitter, you're like, okay, so what's the deal? But, I mean, she's very cool, she's very sexy, very smart with a sci-fi thing. I mean, she's, engaging, and I guess it was interesting, and I thought it kind of summed her up when Cole's dad asks if he still gets teased for having a babysitter, and he says... they do, but when they see her, then they get jealous, and I was like, that makes sense.
The dad's just like, yeah, you're right, actually. Yeah, nice.
Melanie, do you want to talk about her? I just thought she was like this good little hard kid that was nice.
She reminded me of Jenny from Forrest Gump when they're kids.
Oh,
like the one who would stick up for Forrest.
Jono. Jono. I love Forrest Gump. That's such a good movie. I know there's a lot of people that hate it, but I love Forrest Gump.
Really?
Yeah. It's got a lot of hate.
Really? It's got a lot of love too. There wasn't much to her, to be honest.
She wasn't in the film.
No.
Yeah.
And then the other 4 characters, or 5 characters, they were, to me, were just stereotypes.
And blatant and unashamedly.
Yep. So you got Max, who's the hot dude. Allison was the dumb bimbo.
Yep.
John was like your stereotypical black guy.
Yep.
Sonia was your stereotypical Asian.
Yep.
Yeah. And then Samuel was just dead.
Yeah, Samuel was... I don't think he was even a character.
He was a dead guy.
I loved Max's gung-ho arrogance. Like, the fact that he never doubted that he was going to catch Cole, and he never cared that when anyone else died.
Yeah.
And he was actually a really terrifying villain in that sense, but he also had this charm about him that
had this bit of heart.
so that it made you sure that you weren't actually afraid of him.
Yeah.
I actually thought Sonia was kind of like a female version of Max, like in the sense that completely in control with that arrogance instead of Max just gung-ho. And I kind of wish that her death had been more accidental than clumsy, because it didn't strike me as the way she was going to go. Whereas Max's was like purely fluke accidental, because I'm like, hey, you're going to kill this guy, he's a machine. And I kind of felt the same with Sonia, and when she sort of fell on the mouse traps, I was like, oh, she's better than that.
I think they tried to make all their deaths accidental.
Yeah, because he wasn't like a awesome killer. Well, yeah.
Because the other one was like the guy that fell in the car, and they're all accidental. Yeah.
I didn't quite understand where Allison fit in, the cheerleader journalist. I kind of it just didn't fit. It was too much of a stereotype that didn't really work. And then with John, I actually found John really funny, despite his stereotypical role and his insane overacting. But I think he died at the right time.
Yeah, I had exactly that point. I said, with John, let's just say he was in the movie for the right amount of time.
Yeah.
He comes on, he plays the cliche. He was the black person in the crew who dies first in the horror movie. Performed his stereotype, which was objectively quite funny for the time he was there. But and then he was gone. I think it was probably the right call that he was killed off first.
Yeah, and I know they're very much all stereotypes, archetypes, deliberately so. And I thought they were really good, almost perfect.
Any other characters?
I think we got most.
All right,
I only one. The bully.
The bully.
I love the bully.
Jeremy
was funny. Did anyone else? I thought he was hilarious.
I was happy when he's black, but for no at the end.
That was Cindy, the black Cindy.
He named it.
Yeah, he's like, oh, Cindy.
Yeah.
I thought that was good. He was a good dancer, good zingers. I think he was an asshole, but it was cool enough that I was like, yeah, all right, you can be an asshole.
Good dancer, good zingers.
He's like doing the moves as he's throwing the eggs at the house. I thought it was good.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
The director. You wanted to talk about the director, MJ?
Yeah, just I didn't know him by name.
I did.
From Charlie's Angels?
Well, Charlie's Angels, but the OC.
Ah.
So I was having this discussion with my wife before, the other day, and I was like, oh, we're watching a film directed by MC. I'm like, he was part of the OC, and she's like, no, that was Josh Schwartz or whatever. I'm like, no, his name was on the credits every single episode, because I don't know how many times that show's been on our TV in this house. And yeah, he executive produced the whole show.
Is that right?
But yeah, obviously OC as well.
I love the fact that he started on video clips.
Yeah, MTV.
So Cypress Hill, Korn, Smash Mouth, Bare Naked Ladies, Everclear, The Offspring, between 95 and 99, he did all their video clips.
They're big 95 to 99.
I was going to say, this is like right in my hitting zone for watching Rage and video hits. And all these songs that I'm saying, I'm like, he did the, I think, Why Don't You Get a Job? Offspring. Yeah. He did all the Bare Naked Lady stuff, all the Smash Mouth, like Walking on the Sun, Can't Get Enough of Your Baby, all that kind of stuff. So he started with that. Then he jumped into the Charlie's Angels number 1 and I think Full Throttle's number 2.
Yep.
And then We Are Marshall, which seems like a complete sideways step, which I enjoyed that film. I thought it was really good. And then more recently, or a few years ago, 3 Days to Kill with Kevin Costner, which I'm pretty sure bombed, but...
And he's also done another Netflix film, which was pretty big, like a couple of months ago when it came out, Rim of the World.
Oh, okay.
They put a lot of into that when it came out. We'll probably cover that in about 3 years.
I was going to say, we'll get to it eventually. No, he's been around, that's the thing. He knows the industry. He's got contacts everywhere. So watching interviews with him was really interesting, talking how he talks with the people from Warner Brothers, who obviously do New Line Cinema, but then the Netflix people and even the Sony people, and he just got all these contacts. He knows how the industry works. So it's awesome to see someone like him really buying into the whole Netflix model.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. The cast was pretty good.
I thought they were great.
They were cast pretty
They bought into it. That's the thing.
Yeah.
This is a crazy premise, and they had to buy into it for it to work, and they did.
Yep. All right, let's look at some scenes. Simo, give us some scenes that you liked.
I thought the very first scene after his parents leave and they're officially alone in the house was very good. The synchronized dancing that they kind of had, the chat over the movie, which you will talk about in the backyard of the projector screen. I thought it kind of played into the relationship of both Cole and B quite well. And then they talked about the 5 people that they'd take on their sci-fi
intergalactic super team.
That's it. I thought that was really good.
Couldn't agree more. I thought it was great banter, immediate chemistry, and let's be honest, they had the best night. Like, I would want to do that with my mates, let alone my babysitter. They just had the greatest night. I'm like, of course he's still got a babysitter. Like, that's awesome.
We need to pick a movie that we just want to re-quote and put it on our... I'm all about that.
But then they had a swim, which for some reason it just got like middle of the day for a little bit.
Yeah.
They had a little bit of a swim. They were making their own pizza. They were talking about their intergalactic super team. It was just an awesome day or awesome night.
I think another one for me, and I said it out loud as soon as kind of he saw everything was happening, and then they caught him and he woke up and saw the kind of people in front of him, and Max had his shirt off, and almost immediately I'm like, I'm like out loud, I'm like, why is he shirtless? And then that was the first question that caused like, why are you shirtless? And I'm like, I want to know that too. That was
I love that because I didn't care. I'm like, just keep that shirt off.
Best. He says it like 4 times. Why doesn't he have his shirt on?
Yeah.
Because you know what? I thought the exact same thing. I was thinking like, why is his shirt off?
I mean, the obvious reason why he has his shirt off is there because he looks, immaculate. But
that's why they don't answer it.
Yeah.
Because the reason he doesn't have a shirt on because it's going to sell tickets. It's going to get people to click on it.
Another big one, I thought, in the bathroom at the very end when he kind of takes Melanie and leaves her to try and save her. It's like this moment where he becomes this suave and cool kind of hero type. And I guess we talked about this transition from him being very scared to kind of the end of the movie. And I'm not sure that the song that they play in the background, Spooky by Dusty Springfield, is a very, very nice and sexy song. And I'm not sure if you know Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels, they play that for the strip club scene, and it's just a nice song. I just liked it there. It was good.
It was topped off by the fact that he tried to lock the door from the inside. I was like, you're not going to be able to lock this, mate. And I'm glad they called that out.
I got a couple more, but I think
you're on a roll.
The other big one was the ending. So I thought where he steals the car, we talked about We Are the Champions being played. It kind of worked very well. It seems almost like obvious to play a song, but I mean, it worked well with this mini montage of him getting hit in the head and called a pussy, and
the film was called enough.
Yeah, and then he had this car that he was stealing. And I want to talk about the car a little bit later, but it just kind of works. The only thing they panned back to Melanie kind of smiling at him going, good job, and then it went back to her again. I'm like, I don't know why we needed to go back too many times, but I thought that whole end scene was kind of cool.
You knew he was going to drive a car at some point, didn't you?
Yeah.
He didn't drive one.
That it?
There was a couple of good jokes.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah,
We like a good
the
laugh.
cheerleader when she was like, "You are dying." You are dying. That shouldn't be funny, but I like it. And the whole when they called it a Protestant instead of the Protestant.
Yeah, that was good.
Actually.
He's out with a Protestant. What about the car? Not working. Oh, she picked him up.
I like that they connected that joke too from the start.
Yeah.
Too, because
Yeah.
it wasn't just Melanie; she was innocent as much as Cole was as well. Because
That's a good point.
he asked B, "Are you my Protestant?" She's like, "What do you mean Protestant?"
I think my dad's out with a Protestant. I'm like, that's clever.
MJ.
Oh man, the best scene in the film was when they stabbed the bloke with the glasses for the first time. What was his name? Joshua? No.
Oh,
Yeah.
can't even remember his name. Samuel.
I was like, I was literally just like, what the fuck? When that happened, I could not believe it. You know what? Literally a minute before that, I was like, I'm sure this said that it was a horror comedy. Like, there was nothing horror about it. And that happened, and I was like, wow! Like, that blew my mind. That absolutely blew my mind, and I loved it. It was just such a visceral reaction to that shot. So I'm all for it. I've got the why doesn't he have his shirt on?
Good, we all had that.
I love the fact that the guy says straight away, he's like, you just woke it up, and that's the first thing you ask. Because when I first happened, I was like, why doesn't he have a shirt on? And then I actually thought, why would I ask that straight away? And that's exactly what happened. So well done, MCG, or McG. I liked a little soppy little bit before I went to bed where he says to B, thanks for knowing me and treating me like I was okay. I want to feel normal, but I just feel weird most of the time. It kind of made you realise that relationship with B meant so much more to him than what it actually seems. And that was really important for understanding his character, but also understanding their relationship and where it was going to go after that. I thought it was just really nice.
And when she was like, I like weird.
Yeah, exactly right. And the idea of like when you grow up, mate, this is all fine. You're going to fit in like a.
As long as he uses the book.
Yeah, well. And
is there a book or is it a sequel?
Yeah, actually, we'll find out. I can't wait to watch a sequel for this. The scene under the house with Sonia, really just enjoyed that entire sequence. Also reminded me a little bit of The Visit. I don't know if you've seen The Visit by M. Night Shyamalan. There's a creepy scene under the house where the grandma is sort of chasing them. It reminded me of that. But I just love how that whole thing played out with the tension of him hiding and then the obviousness of like, oh, I didn't see him. Oh, there's a noise. Now I'm going to see him. I just thought it all played out really nicely.
Cool. My turn?
Your turn.
So yeah, I like the innocence of Melanie and Cole. I just like that through a lot of stuff. So lots of scenes, but I just really liked that. We touched on it a little bit. I really liked the film and TV references throughout. So that weird ET finger thing that they did, I thought that was really cool. The Mad Men joke was like one of my highlights. I thought that was hilarious where like, his dad's, it's too much for you, and he stays up all night, watches it, and he goes, who cares? and then to follow that up at the end where B's like, did you just ruin Mad Men for me?
Yeah, I did like that.
Compared to Don Draper, I thought that was cool. And then, there was Home Alone references. I liked that Starship thing you spoke about where you got all the Trek characters, Independence Day. It was a good Godfather 2 joke.
Godfather 2 joke.
Good Stephen King reference with the Carrie reference. Yeah. I just really liked all those little in-jokes. They were cool. I like the jort joke where like have a go at the dad for wearing jean shorts.
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
I was like, that's like me. I got that.
I bet he's gonna call him jorts. Gotta bring my jorts.
I'm a Junners. Jeans with runners?
Nah, sneaks.
Sneakers. And then New Balance?
I have to upgrade.
Ken Marino was so perfect for this role.
Yeah.
I really like all the kill shots were pretty good.
They were actually. Yeah.
So you got the two knives to the head that you spoke about.
Oh, best.
The cop who got that fire protter through the head
and was alive for quite a while afterwards.
Had to push it in a bit further. See slices the cop's throat. I was just like, whoa. And like John tripping in the staircase and is falling off the balcony.
Yeah, that was brutal.
The bug spray that killed Sonia with that explosion of the firework.
How fun was the bug spray? I don't know. That was weird.
I liked
You saw it.
Like the Max when he falls from that treehouse, that was just brutal.
Yeah, that was awesome though.
And then Alison's head exploding. Like,
bang!
Brutal.
And she's just like, oh, look at this gun.
And she's made it out, I shot her, not you.
Yeah. That's true, though.
I liked it when John got sprayed in the face with the blood, like not once, but twice.
Yeah.
And then his response was, he's like, 2 out of 4 people have STDs. I've got AIDS.
That was actually really good.
I thought that was really good. I really like when Cole like sort of runs upstairs and realizes what's going on downstairs. It's like that almost selfie-like camera where he's holding the camera and running around. Yeah. I thought that was a really, really cool technique. I really liked that. Alison's comments about her boobs throughout. One of her lines was, "Can we just stick a tampon in it?"
Yeah, that's right.
No dude's going to want to motorboat these. Who's going to want to suck my nipples? And I'm going to have one deflated boob all my life.
I've got all these things you just said down to my forgettable scenes. That was the worst scene in the whole movie.
I'm on Jesse's side of this. I'm on Jesse's side. I thought that was funny.
It's not very often I laugh at stupid stuff. So, I did like that Cole stood up to himself to Jeremy, even though Max was sort of helping him. I did like that we did get to see him stand up to Jeremy.
I liked the fact that he stopped choking him and said, "What are you going to do? This is America. Go stand up." I thought it played quite good, and then we got the extra Jeremy scene that we needed. So I was happy with that.
And I just like this comment though that's where Cole goes, it's science fiction. You can do anything. It's like this film. You can do anything.
That's very true.
I like that. That was cool.
Very true.
All right. What didn't we like about this?
No, I love the fact that I'm glad that no one mentioned the kiss between B and Alison in their favourite scenes.
Okay, good. So what didn't you like, MJ?
Are you saying that we should?
I was close to doing it, but I wasn't sure if it was appropriate. Look, one thing that annoyed me a little bit, which is part and parcel with horror films, but some of the choices that Cole made early on bothered me. When he first ran upstairs, when the front door was open because the cops had just come in, it kind of annoyed me because he's a smart enough kid to know that going outside's going to probably work better than going all the way upstairs. And also when he went into the garage, when he could have just sort of run down the street, but it kind of worked. But he was a smart kid and they didn't shy away from that, so it didn't quite work as well for me. I actually didn't like the scene where they were the bully came and egged their house. I kind of didn't mind the idea of the scene. I just thought it could have been done a lot better. I thought it was a bit long and didn't really work for me. But I guess I didn't resonate with Jeremy as much as you did.
I agree. I didn't like the scene. I just liked that he actually stood up.
Yeah, the idea of the scene was better than the actual scene.
Yep.
And I actually didn't like the line of "I don't need a babysitter anymore"
at the end.
Yeah, and I guess it's kind of like a nice corny way to end the film. But I was just like, no, like just say something fun or inappropriate. You didn't need to say that, but it didn't really work as well for me.
Cool. Simo?
You guys loved it, but I felt the first scene when the cops came in was just. I know it's meant to be a bit, play on the genre and everything like that, but it was a bit too much of a stretch for me with the cops hesitating enough to fire this spike through his face, and as he's falling down, he shoots this girl in the tit. I thought pardon the pun, but all those titty jokes just fell flat for me. I didn't like them.
Fell flat for her too.
That's the pun. That's why I said pardon the pun.
I got it, Jesse.
I like that. That was good.
Who's going to suck on these nipples? I was like, come on. And I just I thought they could do, and I think MJ said about a little bit more with the Sonia kind of death scene.
Yeah.
I would have liked a little bit more from that because I thought she was actually one of the more engaging of other than the babysitter of the characters there. I got Max on. Everyone knows who he is, and I think Sonia, there's a little bit more depth and there was more to play with there. So
good call.
I didn't like the setup with the needle at the start. So you've got the opening scenes where Cole's getting a shot at school and he's getting his needle to make it out like he hates needles, and then the payoff with the scene with him actually getting the blood taken from him with the needle. Yeah. To me, he didn't freak out or anything. He just lay there and took it. And I was like, it doesn't fit with what you opened with.
How often have you had an immunisation in your arm where you take your shirt off? He had no shirt on at the start in getting that needle. I was like,
didn't even notice.
Why is your shirt off?
If you have a full sleeve button shirt.
Maybe that's why they wanted me to say, why doesn't he have a shirt on? Because that was going to come back later on.
Maybe.
I want to give him credit. That's a great scene.
If you're writing the sequel now.
I didn't think of that till I just said it out loud.
There are a lot of things that they made that were out to be way too obvious that sort of I didn't like. Like the kicking the guys in the dick. I was like, okay, that's going to come back. So you're waiting for that to happen. And the same with like the treehouse. They made it really obvious when they rock up at home. There's your treehouse. It's still there. I'm like, something's going to happen in the treehouse. Same with like mum telling him clean up your toys. Setting it all up. And then the knife in the dishwasher was the biggest one for me.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, that knife's going to come in handy at some stage. And then the bad driving too.
Hey, but it kind of backflipped though, because you thought it was going to be the dishwasher.
Oh, we got to talk about that
We'll
scene.
talk about and then, and the bad driving too. Like, you knew he was going to drive a car. Some things that were really obvious that, two in your face. I didn't like the girl-on-girl stuff just went too long and was just a cliche thing that they didn't need. I get that. Well, it was just weird because Cole's sitting there going, "Oh, this is amazing."
It was 5 seconds too long.
Yeah.
McGee was saying that
That wasn't scripted, was it?
It wasn't scripted, but obviously they didn't just do it on the blue. They spoke about it. But he said it's funny how when he was shooting Charlie's Angels, there was a scene where they had to hide in like a statue thing, and then they had to break out of the statue and they were all naked in it. And they had to, he said, just to get them naked in that thing, you don't see anything, but to get that in, they had to sort of speak to their managers, get the sign off, do all this kind of hoo-ha for nothing in the end. Whereas in 2019, getting 2 girls to make out for 15 seconds on screen, nothing. They just went and did it. Like, these guys, it's just, the landscape has just changed so much. I mean, it's been 10, 15 years since that movie, so just very, very interesting how things have changed.
Last thing that I didn't like was the post-credit scene.
So I've got that as like a
Yeah.
question mark.
Yeah, I just didn't like it because I was happy with the thought that B was dead. I didn't need to see her come back because I was like, there's closure for Cole if she's dead, and then to see her come back and attack a firefighter or whatever he was.
Agreed. I didn't need that either. But I am hanging out for a sequel, so
All right,
need me some B.
let's have a chat about some themes or some motifs or what was the film saying? MJ.
Look, one of the main things was literally about growing up, the whole idea of having a babysitter and not needing a babysitter anymore, but also him growing up and fighting his fears and just taking everything head on in a really literal way. So
There's a little bit of loss of innocence too, like Google searching what an orgy is.
True.
Just little things like that. That would screw me.
What a Protestant is.
It's actually quite clever when he was lying to them about like their orgy, and you and they sort of think that he didn't see anything.
Yeah.
I was like,
That was
nice
good.
job, Kyle. You've done well here. And then the cops came. So
Yeah. Simo?
I was bang on again the same. Growing up, facing your fears. I think obviously that played into it very early in terms of him, not wanting to say pussy to his mum, and what was the other thing, and he's this like beacon of innocence, and they play into that whole nerd kind of sci-fi stuff, and by the end of it he's this hot shot, he's flipping the car and stuff like and then
the bully kids,
the bully kids
idolizing him.
His 2 lackeys, Jeremy's lackeys are like a guy once Sydney was run over, so
Definitely that overcoming the fears the whole way through towards the end. And life is scary too for kids. Like, I think the mum made some comment along those lines, like, you're going to grow up and these things won't be scary for you anymore. And you see him under the house with that spider on him and he's freaking out, and then towards the end,
Mind you, most of the stuff that he experienced that night, doesn't matter how old you are, you're going to find that shit scary. That was the thing that annoyed me actually about that spider. I was like, think about the alternative of this spider crawling on you. You got people trying to kill you. Anyway, that's a movie though, and I was cool with it.
Good. All right. Well, what do we take from this film?
This is perfect for Netflix.
Yep.
And I think they kind of knew that when they were finishing this film up, that this is that easy commitment, perfect runtime. As a teenager, it kind of has that real sleepover movie feel to it. I just think the fact that we've seen 50,000 ratings on IMDb suggests that people are engaging with this and consuming this on Netflix because it's the ideal Netflix movie.
Yeah. This is the perfect film, like, on a sleepover night. It's wet, rainy outside.
Oh, yeah. I'm all in.
Yeah.
I had that Friday night with a few friends, some laughs, no thinking. Perfect.
And this is one of the ones that had a little bit of silly humour that I didn't mind.
Yeah. So we discussed... I don't think we've had a comedy for a while, but I do recall on our War Machine podcast, you said that was the funniest Netflix film that we've had so far.
Yep.
Where do you sit on that now?
Yeah, War Machine's still funnier for me than this.
Okay, that's incorrect.
Okay.
Is that right? Okay.
No, I still find War Machine. The first hour of War Machine, anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
For what it's worth, I would have enjoyed this film on the big screen as well. I think it'd be one of those movies that you watch because you want to go to the movies, but you wouldn't go to the movies to see it.
Yeah,
It'd be sort of this, hey, you want to go to the movies on Friday night? It's like, yeah, what's on? Oh, I don't know. Babysitter? Yeah, that was pretty good. That's kind of how you do it, but it would have been good.
Real popcorn movie.
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely.
Did either of you use IMDb to check any actors, actresses up during this?
There was this was very IMDb-able, I think.
It's a very good call. Very good call.
The first one I did was Max. I knew Max from a few things, and it kind of it ties in well. That I don't know if you remember How I Met Your Mother.
Oh, yeah.
And he was Scooby back
Scooby.
then, and then the Scooby ties in because he was Fred in Scooby Doo, and I'm like, I knew him from somewhere. I'm not sure because I think this was about 2010 when he was Fred, so maybe that was, I don't know why I watched Scooby Doo, but I knew he was Fred. I knew he was something, but.
Robbie Amell is Netflix royalty.
Yeah. If you've listened to one of our episodes, how do you say the title again? Because I don't want to screw this up.
Arc.
Arc. Okay, good. It's spelled ARQ, just in case you wanted to know.
Robbie Amell is the lead in Arc, and we love him at Flix Forum.
And I almost did the same thing I did in that episode, and I've gone, it's the guy from Arrow, and I'm like, crap, it's not him. It's the guy from Arc.
He's also in The Duff, which is a good movie.
Yeah.
The other big one, and maybe it's a rookie amateur mistake, but I looked at the Wikipedia page beforehand and saw that Ron Funches was in this movie, and I was like, I'm really excited. I love Ron Funches. I've seen his stand-up. He's a really good voice actor. Got to the end of the movie. I'm like, he's not in this movie. I don't know why, but the Wikipedia is just wrong. And I think what they did is Ron Funches looks a little bit like the nurse, I guess, at the start with the injection. And I think people are racist. And they've just said on the Wikipedia that Ron Funches, but I was upset that Ron Funches was not in this movie.
This is why we go into these films completely cold.
You need to go on and change Wikipedia's page.
Oh, yeah.
I had a few. I had Sonia, who was crazy familiar, and I'm annoyed that I didn't know this straight away, but she's Lily from Pitch Perfect, the girl who whispers all the time. Have you guys seen Pitch Perfect? Yeah,
Only the first one.
Don't watch the third one. Second one's good. Don't watch the third one.
All right, thanks.
Alison, Bella Thorne, is in The Duff, which I just spoke about. So she was in The Duff with Robbie Amell. Good movie. And Samara Weaving is in Three Billboards.
Outside Ebbing, Missouri.
Yep. And also Home and Away for those Australians playing back at home. But I think the name was really familiar more than anything else for her. So maybe that's why I know her the Australian link.
Yeah.
I don't watch Home and Away. But.
So I looked up that movie that they were watching in the garage. I spoke about at the start of the episode, and I got told to save it.
Thanks for waiting.
That's all right, I waited. So it's called Billy Jack. It's a 70s movie, and I'm very keen to watch that film now.
Okay.
I'm going to take this foot and put it on that side of your face.
The reenactment was good. All right.
Not the second reenactment.
That didn't go too well.
His foot got about to his hip.
They just punched him in the face. That was a win for Jeremy. I like it.
Do you have any questions you want to ask us? Yeah?
Yeah.
Good.
Yes.
Ask.
Well, I want to know, and let's think out of the box here. It's not going to have an answer, so I want you guys to think out of the box. So how do you reckon B got into this stuff in the first place, and how do you think that she recruited the rest of those guys?
How old is she?
Well, she was still high school, wasn't she?
No, but is she still in high school, but she's been in high school for 100 years? Or
True.
Let's assume she's not. Let's assume she's in high school.
I think you sell the premise that you can get anything.
So, but how did she discover this in the first place? How did...
She started off by having the Death Note, and then, and then when she got rid of the Death Note, she got this book.
Flix Forum joke. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
I don't
This
know.
is interesting, and that's the one thing that
You want to see?
I left out of this film. When I left this film, one thing I wanted to know more of.
All right, I got one. So we briefly mentioned this before. There's this weird cutaway scene where the mum's like sort of pleasing the dad under the sheets with her hands. The next scene we see her, she touches Cole on the face and gives him like this big kiss to see if he's okay. Did she wash her hands?
Yes, she did. Yes,
Okay, good.
Yes, she did.
That's a good one.
Any other? Sorry. That was really bad.
What have you got for us, Simone?
I got a question about the car. So Melanie called it a douche car. I'm pretty sure that's the Chevy Impala, isn't it? Like the Supernatural car? If you're fans of the Supernatural show.
I got no idea.
I don't know. I thought that was the Chevy Impala. I'm not sure what year, but I was like, that's not a douchey car. Come on.
Her dad was the biggest dude.
Yeah.
When he was cleaning the car, that was with the hose as a dick.
What about when he's just like, sorry, your
give you
parents are going to expect you to take the bus. I can't give you a lift home, neighbour. Like, it just rubs in the fact that he lives across the road.
And he uses Protestants for pleasure.
Yeah.
And also, I was interested in your thoughts about the whole text and graphics kind of thing popping up on the screen.
Good question.
When he pulls out the pocket knife, it's like secret pocket knife and stuff like that. I was just interested on your take on how it
What do you think? Because you've often got an opinion on this. How do you think it worked for this one?
I thought this worked fine.
Yeah, so do I.
Because it was literally, it progressed the story and it didn't take away from
It definitely was on tone with the rest of the
film.
And I think when they stabbed Samuel in the head, it just said like WTF.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that's exactly how I feel. But even when it went around the circle and it named them all, and I was like, I'm okay with all this. It's because it's kind of this fun. It's a weird film, and I don't think you can shy away from that. It kind of worked. Do you think it works, Samara?
I liked it. I think obviously it was very heavy at the start, and then it went. I think some places worked better than others. I thought the secret pocket knife thing was almost Tarantino-esque sometimes when they pop that stuff up. But
this guy used to work with Tarantino, McG.
I know. Well, there we go. So
Tarantino was one of his first mentors. So
Good.
It ties in nicely. I mean, I kind of enjoyed it. I mean, one of my favorite films is Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. And they lean on it a little bit.
Tone,
and I think it works quite well on that. I didn't love it. I didn't have a problem with it.
Yeah, fair enough.
Any other questions?
My only other one was, so where is everyone on this street? They hired the cop car, and I was like, okay, all right, you hide the cop car while other ones, I'll get on board. But the guns start going off.
Melanie heard the gun.
Yeah,
and she was wasn't even next door.
Yeah,
she was just
sideways. You know what? I weirdly didn't. I think that in so many films, I'm like, oh, hang on, everyone else is hearing this. I weirdly didn't think that in this film.
They almost had the smog to sort of make it feel like.
How good was the
smog? Was cool. Also, the house was awesome.
Yeah,
it gave me very play school vibes with the circle windows.
It was a classic horror house.
How much backyard they got when they're watching the movies and stuff.
And the pool.
I thought it was awesome. We need an Airbnb that shit.
Yeah.
All right. I think we're almost ready to sum this up.
I think so.
Good. All right. So we go around the table and we each give a rating out of 5 for this film. MJ, start us off and let us know what your thoughts on this are.
As I said, it was a pretty fun ride. There was enough humour to lighten the mood and really speak my language. And there were enough horror elements to darken the story and commit to the premise. So combine it with the perfect runtime, you've got a pretty satisfying 90 minutes in front of the TV, and I would definitely recommend it. It's 3 stars from me, but it's a high 3.
Ooh, good. All right, Simmer, what are your thoughts?
As you said, it works perfectly into the whole Netflix thing. It's one of the movies that when I see it on the scrolling that I'm like, I want to see this movie. I'm going to save it for a night where it's just pizza and at home chilling. And I really enjoyed it. I like the one by one kind of slasher thing. It always gets me. And I thought they played into it well as kind of treading the line but being quite funny. And it was a good watch. I'll give it a 3 as well.
Awesome. So, like I said at the start, I didn't have massively high expectations for this one, but I enjoyed it. I think if I was a teenage boy, I probably would have thought this was like the best movie ever and watched it on repeat.
That's a good point.
Yeah. I thought the performances were good. It was visually good. Had a nice underlying message about overcoming your fears. So I'm giving it a 3 out of 5 as well. So that gives us, let's work this, 3 out of 5 as the team.
I was so close to giving this 3.5. I was so close. And I reckon if I watch it again and I enjoy it, it would definitely get a 3.5.
Good. All right.
Good
well,
film.
We are on social media. We have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're on Podbean. We're on iTunes. We're on everywhere you can find good podcasts.
We're on
Spotify,
YouTube.
We're on YouTube
if
as
you
well.
Google us, we're on like 15 different platforms.
Yeah, a lot of people have picked us up and gone with us. So, question for the week up on our social medias is, will Cole go on to get what he wants now that he's figured out what that is?
He's never going to stop figuring out what he wants.
Well, he wants to be a copper.
No, but there's more to life than
Copper and
profession.
Melanie. Is he going to go on and be successful in both those things?
I like the fact that we're leaving Cole in a good place.
Yeah.
But that's a good question, Jesse.
All right, well, we're back again tomorrow. Crazy.
I honestly don't even know what film we're doing tomorrow.
Well, you got a lot of watching tonight because it's a bit of a long one. So tomorrow we're looking at the 2017 comedy drama. It's called The Meyerowitz Stories.
Oh, Sandler.
New and selected. Yes, this is another Sandler one. It's directed by Noah Bacham. It stars Adam Sandler, Ben Stiller, Dustin Hoffman, Elizabeth Marvel, and Emma Thompson.
Small cast.
Yeah. high expectations going into tomorrow.
That's nuts. All right.
That could be a Christmas present come early.
Cool.
All right. Well, Simo, thanks again for coming along and adding some awesome insight into this.
I really enjoyed it. Thank you very much for having me.
Mate. And good luck on your I Get Buckets podcast as well. If you're a basketball fan, this guy knows the game better than anybody. So get on I Get Buckets on anywhere you can get good podcasts.
That's it.
Yeah. All right, we will see you all tomorrow.
See you then, mate.
See you later.